Hello and welcome. I'm Sherry from the Blue Sea Horse um, Counseling Service, and I have Jane with me tonight. This is going to be our second part of the Decatur Community Center. I know the last time that we were here, we were talking about the different activities that we've got going on there, and we kind of ran out of time, so Jane has got her notes back with her, and I'm going to turn this over to her, and we'll continue where we left off.
Well, in our last session, of course, we let people know some of the problems that we were having with the city, and those are still ongoing problems that we're having. And at this point, they're still not letting us open up for the food pantry or any activities at all. And they are in possession of the little building to tear down. And at this point, they're not doing anything about it. So we have no idea where we're standing at this point on getting reopened, which is heartbreaking to me because I can't have my food pantry open. I have people call me just about every day needing food, and I can't take them in there and give them food. And so we're at this point now where we're waiting on the city. And as much as I would love to get started, I actually asked the city, could we enter in the building through a different exit away from the little building, because they think it's unsafe. If we could exit and enter the other end of the building where there's nothing wrong there, and it's close to the food pantry too, and they have refused to let us go in that way. So I'm just going to let you know some of the stuff that we've got going that once we get reopened, we're going to start our program all over again. And like I said last time, one of the things that we have is the Riding for Health. And we have people, including the police department, that donate bikes to us. And I have a team of volunteers that fix the bikes up, get them reconditioned, get them new tires if they need it, and then we give them out to the kids. This year we had planned on having the bikes ready. We have bikes in there ready to go, and we were going to have them down there on the 3rd of July, give the bikes away and let them decorate and be in the parade on the 4th of July. Well, they wouldn't let us. They wouldn't let us on the property. They wouldn't let us have the kids down there. So we still have some bikes down there. I would love to just take the bikes in another location maybe and give them away. And that may happen. That may end up happening.
Mm-hmm. We still have the parade in September for Labor Day, so I mean, we could always.
And we have the Christmas parade.
Yep.
So yeah, one or the other. Hopefully, we'll be able to be back open and get the kids to. I would like to have the kids get their bikes before school. So, and one thing that we had a couple years ago was we had a bunch of volunteers that came in and they gave haircuts and we let them go through the food or the clothing center if they needed clothes or whatever, and the guys gave free haircuts down there, and some of the girls were down there, the beauticians were down there helping out. We had a dunk tank and an air house, and we had a chicken barbecue and all that stuff, and then the fire department brought some old cars that didn't run from the junkyard, and they turned them over and they had them all different ways. Mm-hmm. And then they came down and they had dummies in them, and then they came down and they cut the dummies out of the cars and the kids could watch them do that. And it was amazing to see the kids watching all that, the fire department do that. They had never seen any of that, And then they got to talk to the fire department guys, and they had the firehouse down there. They let the kids get on the fire truck and do all kinds of stuff. So we had, I think that was like the Saturday before school started. So we had quite a thing going on down there then. We didn't have a lot of people showed up, but we fed the firemen and all that. So Another thing too that we have, and it's free, is the guys come in on Thursday night and they play basketball. Sometimes a youth group comes in and plays with them. And then the ladies come in and they walk the halls or the gym or whatever. While the guys are playing basketball, they walk the halls or whatever, and they get their exercise. And then they come down there once in a while. They'll volunteer to help clean and stuff. We usually have once a month we have the work crew from the weekend jail crew. They come in and they'll help clean up and do stuff we need and straighten up the clothing center and stuff for us. And so we have quite a few volunteers along with them that do that. We have meals every 2 weeks. It's $5, and that's everything. That's your salad, your main meal, your dessert, and punch or coffee. $5. And it's anywhere from Swiss steak, spaghetti, pot roast. We have a pretty good meal. And we have, I would say, probably 60, 65 people on a good night. Then in December, we have breakfast with Santa Claus. And what happens is the parent gets to eat free, but you have to pay for the child. And the only reason that we charge, and it's not very much, it's a couple bucks, is because they get a free picture taken with Santa Claus. So actually, we don't make any money on that because the guy taking the pictures usually ends up making the money. So we have donations to helps us with that. We had the deer hunters breakfast year before. And we had quite a few deer hunters. We opened up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and they come in and they ate because they want to be in the woods by 6.
Right.
So they come in and they ate, and we had biscuits and gravy and pancakes and eggs and all kinds of stuff. They come in and eat. They could eat as much as they wanted, and then they headed for the woods. And we hope to do that again because last year we had a request for that, and of course we was having problems with the city and the furnace. So that we had MMA fights in there since we opened almost, and people thought we really got rich on them fights. But what happened was we would just rent the gym out to the promoter, and we would make the rental for the space and the concession. So we never really got rich, but it helped pay the bills. And you know, when your utilities are high, you have to have all that stuff in place. 'Cause we had to buy the food and Gatorade and all that. And one of the rentals that we do is the Young Marines, Van Buren County Young Marines, and you have to be 8, so you're between 8 and 17. And there's this program is really good for kids. And if they stay in there and then go into the Marines once they're out of school, they got all kinds of scholarships, they got all kinds of extras that they can get if they stay in. And last count, there was more girls than there was guys. We had 4 guys and we had 8 girls. So at this point, they're meeting at a library, one of the libraries, either Papa or Decatur, when they can get it, and so they can keep them going. And hopefully we'll be able to get them back in there too. One of the other rentals that we do is Zumba, and it's Tony Fountain from Pawpaw. And she has quite a group of ladies that come about 3 times a week. She does seniors. If you're a senior and you can't do, I don't know, have you ever seen Zumba?
Yep.
Well,
yep.
I know I can't do it.
No, I can't either.
And so she will do a seniors program, and they can sit in chairs or whatever and do their exercises and that. And so they do have some seniors that do that. And she's really good with them. She, gives them more breaks, of course, than the young kids. And I think she's getting ready to sign people up once the building's open. So, and one of the other programs is AA. They don't pay to be in there. They were going to, they were having their classes in a church basement or something, and they were told that the church wasn't gonna be available anymore. And we found out, so, we offered it to them. And, they grabbed it. I mean, they have to share that room with someone else, but they're more than willing to do that, and they clean their own room, they clean the bathrooms, for using it for free. So, it's a good thing, that they're there. And they also can use the exercise room, which is right next to them. And there's a pool table, there's a game room and exercise.
Mhm.
There's a pool table and there's a foosball, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of stuff in there and exercise equipment. They go in there and they use that if they want, before or after. And there's times I've been down there at 8:30 or whatever to lock up or check on stuff. And they're still there, playing pool and stuff, which is fine. And it gives them time to talk over and above their little meeting, it gives them more time to talk and have, I think, get to know people, get to know each other. And another thing that we do, we don't make money for, as you know, we do fundraisers for people that need it. Sherry was a beneficiary of that. When she had her cancer, there's a lot of medical bills that come along with that. And we had spaghetti dinner?
We had a spaghetti dinner.
Yeah.
I know my family, I don't know exactly what it was, but I know we did give you guys a nominal. They give you something, I don't remember what it was. But we had a lot of people donate different things.
Had a little auction,
Mhm,
a silent
auctions.
auction, and all that kind of stuff. And that's not the only one. We had a young couple that burned out, and they came down to get some clothes from the clothing center, and was talking to us. And somebody that was sitting there with us said, a volunteer said, well, maybe we ought to do a fundraiser for them. They had no house, no insurance even. So, a lot of times you got insurance, the insurance will put you up for a few days. And so we did a fundraiser for them, and we give them clothes and food, and they were staying with another couple that they knew at that time until they could find someplace. So we tried to help out in every way we could, and that we were packed that day because there was a motorcycle club, and I can't remember the name of them. They promoted it a lot, and there's a lot of them, so they all came, and so we had a really busy day. We went through tons of food that day, and they had a silent auction, or a auction, because somebody was the auctioneer. And the young Marines come in and they helped, like they do on some of our meals, they help serve and help clean up and stuff. And they did the military march for them and all that stuff for everybody that was there. And the kids got a big kick out of it, and so did the other people. So that was some of the fundraisers, and I know there's more. A guy with needed a kidney transplant. We did one for him, and there's a few. And then we have the homeless shelter there in Decatur, and during the day, the people have to leave there and find something to do. Well, we had my pastor approached me and said that the other pastors were wanting to know what to do with them because it was so cold outside. The one day it was like 9 below, and I said, well, send them down to the center. We had heat then, and I said, send them down there. I don't know how I'm going to feed them, but we'll figure out what we're going to do. And we ended up with probably 14 people, and we had them all winter, and we had little cooking classes for them because some of the girls didn't know a lot of cooking, and we put clothes on some of the kids because a lot of them didn't have coats, or one little kid didn't have boots or shoes or anything. We rummaged around and found him something, and one of my volunteers actually went down and bought him a coat at the Dollar General. So we made sure that they were that they were, you know, and if they needed food or anything, you know, they could use the food pantry. And we met a lot of good people, a lot of good, that just fell on hard times, you know, that needed a little help. And we give them rides, some of them, you know, because if you got little kids, you don't want to drag them through the snow and stuff, you know.
Well, I don't
So-
know for those that, you know, did not see the last show, and is not familiar with the community center in Decatur. It is the old Bergen building.
Right,
Very, very large, 3-story,
30-some rooms.
yeah, a very big building. And as Jane's told you, we've had a lot of things going on in there. Other plans, you know, for the future. People come in falling on hard times. With our volunteers and things that we have there, we've been able to put our heads together and think of other things that we can do.
Right,
You know, and but everybody's got to remember, you've got to remember, right now, none of this stuff is being done
right,
because the city of Decatur has the doors shut temporarily. We're hoping temporarily.
right. And we're also certified for Red Cross for emergency shelter. And we've only had to use them, they've only had to use us once, and not that many people came. But we've been certified. They sent us emergency blankets. We never got our cots, but I figured if you need the service, then I'll sleep on the floor if I have to. So we collected stuff for that too, you know, to make sure that we had a few couches and a few beds, that if we did have to use it, we could at least put up maybe some seniors that can't sleep on the floor. And like I said, you know, to get certified, I guess, is pretty simple. They come down and inspected the building and okayed us. They did a blood drive with us too, down there about the same time we got, you know, we're talking to them. And we could have, there's a lot of things that we could have done, because it's 3.5 stories, there's over 30 rooms. We've been approached by a lot of people to do different things. And one of the things that we were approached with was the border kids, when they were bringing all the border kids in and trying to house them. We had someone from Bethany Christian Services and another entity too out of by up in Detroit, and they knew that we had the room, you know, and they were going to try to get us certified for that. And the people in the neighborhood down there, they started, you know, raising Cain because they didn't want the people in there. So we dropped it because it's hard because they're kids, you know, they're kids that need some place to sleep and eat and stuff. But because of everybody was worried about the safety factor, you know, the kids wandering the streets or whatever. Now, I was told by John McCain at that time, he was one of them that I talked to, said that they would have older people there, like some of them that come across the border too that were adults. They would have them there to help manage the kids and stuff. The board voted it down because of the problem with this. Everybody in town didn't want them. 2 or 3 times in the last few years, we were approached by prison reentry. And it pays really good, but we voted it down. And we voted it down because of the safety factor. We could house 120 people easily. But that would be 120 people, and you don't know what they're coming out of prison with. I don't think we would have found out unless they told us, you know. I don't know who would have done the management part of it. I don't know who would have done any of the, you know, we would be there.
But it would not be, they would have to bring in somebody that would do that.
They would have to
We
do
would
that.
not be, yeah, we, you know, we, whomever, we would have the building.
Right.
But if any kind of program came into your building like that,
Yeah.
They would have to bring their own administrative
Right.
system with them, yes.
Right. So, and that's just like the veterans, the homeless veterans. We wouldn't have done that program. We would have been there to help volunteer to do the kitchen or serve the food, or, I mean, they would bring in their own administration. I know there was a lot of negative talk about they didn't think any of us down there knew how to do that we weren't smart enough or something. Well, we were they come around and told us we weren't smart enough. But you try to explain to them, they're gonna bring it, they don't want me doing there, if they trained me, it'd be something else. I couldn't take in that 100 homeless veterans and know what I'm doing. The paperwork and everything would probably be bad with the government, That's something that somebody would have to be trained for. We had a guy, one of the politicians, and Debbie Stabenow, she was trying to find somebody that would donate an elevator. And we didn't know if we needed it. But she said just in case, that was something that her people were looking at to try to get for us. It wasn't mandatory. It wasn't on the list of things that we needed to do. But they would come in, they would be the administrators, and we'd be the volunteers. And they wanted to take the guys, and they would show them how to, I would have to train them in paperwork on the food pantry and the clothing center and stuff like that, because the food pantry, that's state regulated, so you have paperwork you have to do. And we would train them so they would have something to do during the day. Of course, then we had the gym for them to do whatever they wanted to do,
And
play.
the exercise
exercise.
portion, right?
Yep, and the game room and all that stuff. There was a lot of stuff we already had set up and that they could do. And we had some phone calls from some veterans. One of them was from up north, and he was ready to come that day. And he had somebody that would have brought him down, but we couldn't put him in the building because we weren't certified. And that's another thing. A lot of people don't realize that they gave us a list of stuff that needed to be done. And then you start working on the list. Once the list is done, then you contact them, they come down and inspect. And if everything is up to par the way they want it, then they start helping. Then they'll start in helping with the elevators or the beds or whatever. We had some American Legions, one of them in Lawrence. They wanted to help so bad, they was gonna collect clothes and bedding and whatever they had to do. Unfortunately, that's another thing that the city is fighting us on. It's not that it's dead, because it's not. It's just that we have ran out of money to get our certification. And now, of course, we can't get in the building. But I don't know how a person can sit like some of them did during the 4th of July and say they're patriotic, and then say that they're patriotic, and then they fight against homeless veterans. And I know, like I'd said before, I know people that could use that service. And we would still like to go forward with that, but we need money to do that. We don't have it. I guess the city's gonna tear the building down, and from that point on, it's gonna be easier for us to get certified, because we got our list almost done. It's almost done. And once we get the showers in, that's one of the things I know is left to do. And we need a dishwasher, and we need a stove, cook stove.
So if any of our listeners want to know more information, or maybe would like to donate or help in the future when we can get the door back open, what is a phone number or a location where they can contact
Well, the
somebody?
location will be on the program. It's in Decatur, Decatur Community Center, and it's at 312 School Street in Decatur, 4904. What is it?
4545.
And we have had people that donated from the first thing. And then my husband has an aunt in North Carolina. Their church collects money every week and they're holding it. If we get to the point where we got enough money to finish off, they have all their people donate at least $1 a week just for our fund. So, hopefully, and I told her I wanted her to hold it. I didn't want her sending, in case we don't get the
Right.
program. But I'm still working on the program. Debbie Stabenow's still working with us. Eric Nesbeth, he has done some really good work for us. And Senator Peterson, they're working. They're still working on it, same as I am. That's one of the things that I really feel strong that we need to get some of the homeless veterans off the street. And I know that if we can do that, there's other homeless people that maybe we can help too. Because our building's big. There's no reason why there's any homeless veterans that don't want to be homeless. There's no reason why they're out on the street because of us, because of the infighting. It's totally ridiculous to me that we had the power playing or whatever that's stopping us from doing anything, even the food pantry. When I'm getting phone calls every day, I got a phone call at 10:30 one night, and I know this lady. We used to have the commodity program where we give seniors their food, and I know her really well. And every month she would come to get her commodities, and we would automatically. She only had to ask one time. And like I said, I know her. I know how she doesn't bring in a lot of Social Security, and she's trying to stay in her little trailer. She owns it, but she still has to pay. And every month we automatically fixed her a food box and carried it out with her commodities. Every month she never had to ask but one time. And that's the way it should be. Nobody should have to want for food. I also have a lady that she works really hard, has 3 children, and the only thing she ever asks for when she wants food pantry is juice and cereal. She said, I can cover the rest, but if you can give me juice and cereal, I'll be. So I've got people that aren't getting food because we can't get in.
I've been in the pantry. We have a lot of food in that food pantry right now. And I know Jane and I was talking earlier that being that we have not been able to be in there with people that need food, that we've had to at least once, maybe twice this summer, we have had to actually go in there and go through some of the food.
And we have been sending food to 2 other food pantries. In fact, I've got food in my car now that will be dropped off in the next day or so. Food that we need to move, now. Stuff that I don't think I can freeze. And we've had people are helping us. They're.
Yeah, we're still getting the donations.
Right, and there's only, in Van Buren County, there's only 2 food pantries that's self-sufficient, and we're one. And the other one's in South Haven. And we had a guy came in from Campbell Soup and donated a bunch of celery and onions. And we got Mr. Prock in Decatur. He always donates potatoes, And then we've got Mr. Dick. He's the one that puts the haunted house in the building every year. And they make money for the Honor Society. And he always donates apples. So, we get a lot of donations. We do buy food too.
Right.
But, if we got the money. Like my husband and I, we've pledged $12 to $15 a week for food like pancake batter and syrup. To me, that's something that people like. So we always make sure we go out and get it.
Okay, well, again, our time is getting very close to up, so if anybody is interested in maybe coming down and locating our center when we can get back in there and would like to donate or like to help us out, just let us